Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and welcome to episode 13 of my Warframe Beginners Guide for 2025. The first thing that we're going to do in today's episode is the Master Rank 13 test. Now, this is the Advanced Disappearing Platform test, so it's basically the exact same as one of the other tests. I think it's the MR10 test with the Disappearing Platforms. Unfortunately, I didn't show that one in the video because I'm a silly Billy. So all you got to do is go ahead, stand on the platform, and as you can see, it's glowing. Then whenever it starts to flash really fast, just go ahead and jump off of it. Now, I like to just aim glide in the air before falling onto the next platform because, well, you know, that just extends the amount of time that you have per platform, kinda. So just go ahead, jump up to the top one. That's kind of comfy, you know, you can just go ahead and kill all the enemies from the top one, and then you're gonna fall down to the ones below, right? So I've got 2 more enemies to kill. There's one, and where is number 2? There he is, and that is the Master Rank 13 test completed. Swapped over to the Beginner's Guide account. The first thing that I want you guys to do in this episode is come over to Demos and go ahead and talk to Sun. Press browse wares, and I want you guys to pick up a Adra mutagen blueprint and a Virox antigen blueprint. Now, if you can craft these, go ahead, go to your foundry and do so. And then the next thing that I want you guys to do is go ahead and pick up a few of these Vulpathyla pheromone glands. I recommend picking up maybe 20 of them. You're going to be using 5 at a time. And what we're looking to do is we are looking to catch ourselves a weakened Panzer Vulpathyla. Now, it's important that it's weakened because if we go ahead and we click on this Vulpathyla revivification thing here, you can see that I've got many different Vulpathylas. I've got Crescent, I've got 1 Panzer, and I've got 11 Sly. So in Demos, you can catch animals 2 different ways. You can catch an animal if it's weakened, so being damaged by an enemy. And then you can catch an animal if you have shot it with your tranq rifle. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and get the Vulpathyla Echolure, go ahead and equip that, find the poop that it leads you to by opening up your map, then follow the trail to the nest of the Vulpathyla. Go ahead and use the Vulpathyla pheromone gland 5 times, and that is more or less going to guarantee a Panzer Vulpathyla to spawn in. And now what you want to do is you want to just like stay close to the Panzer Vulpathyla, don't let it see you, and just pray that it walks into a group of enemies and gets damaged. And then once it gets damaged, you can walk over to it and pick it up, or you can shoot it with the tranq rifle and pick it up. You just have to make sure that the health bar says that it is weakened, and then whenever you capture it, it says that it's weakened as well. Then you'll be able to come to Sun, you'll be able to do the Vulpathyla revivification. Go ahead, choose your Panzer, choose your Adra mutagen, and your Virox antigen, and then just go ahead and press build, and there you go, you've got yourself a Panzer Vulpathyla. Now, the reason that it's important to have this is because if you come to trade tags here, we can actually get this mod called Resourceful Retriever. And after we get enough of these tags, we're able to trade the tags for this mod. We can then equip that to our Panzer Vulpathyla, and that's just going to mean that we're going to get even more resources. So I need to go out of my way to get a Amethyst Nyxphera tag and an Umber Undazoa tag. So that's going to require me to go and get the Echolure for those. Now, I'm going to come right out of the gate and say, you don't have to go and get the tags to get this mod. If you hate hunting as much as I do, you can go ahead and just buy this for platinum from Warframe.market. It's currently going for 10 platinum on Warframe.market, so it's not an expensive mod at all. And it's going to increase the amount of loot that you get by quite a bit. So the Nyxphera guys that the tags are talking about, they are found in caves in the Cambion Drift. And the Undazoa, you can go ahead and you pick up the little Echolure to get those guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get this mod, and then we'll do the next thing that we're going to do. Make sure to go ahead and equip your Panzer Vulpathyla, and go ahead and rank up the mods that come with it if you can. You may also want to eventually pick up these bond mods that Sun sells. These are really good on your companion. I'm not necessarily going to pick them up in this video, but just know that they're there, and if you've got the leftover standing to pick them up, go ahead and do so. Okay, so we're going to do a short guide on getting the Netracells animal, because there's not a lot of content on that, actually. So if you guys remember where we put the ISO Vault 2 thing, so this is the second isolation vault, you just want to come over to Albrecht's Prospect over here, just go ahead and TP over, and this is a big valley, right? This is the valley that we're mentioning, right, or we're referring to. And what we want to do is we're going into these like cave areas on the left and right. Now, if you aim down sights, you're going to see one of these Netracells animals that's just in the ceiling. And what we need to do is we need to make it drop. Because if we just go ahead and we shoot it like so, nothing's going to happen. We need to stand in this goop right here. We just go ahead and we stand in the goop, and you can see that it drops down. Now you just want to hit the tip of it, and there you go, you've got it. So now if I come back to Sun and I go ahead and trade tags, I can pick up Resourceful Retriever like so, and that's going to help us out a lot with the next thing that we're going to do. So make sure to go ahead and put that mod onto your Panzer, and that's a mod that you want to go ahead, rank up and throw on. Now, the reason that we picked up the Panzer Vulpathyla specifically is simply because this is the best companion in the game. It basically never dies, and it's really good at spreading the viral status for you. And that's just going to increase the amount of damage that you're dealing to enemies. So there's no reason really not to have it. But yeah, we go ahead and we put this Resourceful Retriever mod onto our Panzer Vulpathyla because we're going to go ahead and we're going to do Arbitrations now. So Arbitrations are an hourly mission, so the mission is going to change every single hour, and you can see that it's going to give us a reward called Vitus Essence. Now this Vitus Essence reward, we take that over to a relay, and then we go ahead and we TP to the Arbitrations Honors. Now in the Arbitrations Honors, we can see all of these mods here. So you have some of these normal mods, and you have all of these galvanized mods. Now we don't want to play Steel Path until we have all of these galvanized mods. So everything that we want to pick up from this vendor is as follows. You want to get Vigorous Swap, Rolling Guard, Preparation. You want to pick up the Grendel Chassis Locator, the Grendel Neuroptics Locator, and the Grendel Systems Locator, and then all of the Galvanized mods. I would actually recommend picking up the Galvanized mods first, then getting these mods, the gold mods, so Vigorous Swap, Rolling Guard, and Preparation, and then picking up the Grendel Chassis, Neuroptics, and Systems Locator last. So you need roughly 400 Vitus Essence. I think the exact number that we need is 385. And Vitus Essence is very specific because we can only get it from Arbitrations. You can get it as a mission drop, as you can see here, but there's also little drones that spawn in these missions as well that shield the enemies that are spawning in, and those drones have a chance to drop it. The thing is, abilities like Necros' Desecrate don't work on these drones, but things like Resource Boosters, they do. So I'm about to recommend something controversial here, which some Warframe players might disagree with, but I'm here trying to save you some time. So if you've got the Platinum, go ahead and spend it on the 3-day Resource Booster and the 3-day Resource Drop Chance Booster. Of course, if you have more Platinum, you can buy the 30-day. It's up to you. But just make sure that you're actually going to make use of these boosters. The booster timer starts from as soon as you buy it, so it is free IRL days, in real life days. You can buy the 7 if you want. It's totally up to you. But basically, my thought process here is these boosters are going to make the Arbitrations farm go much faster. And on top of that, if you complete the Arbitrations farm pretty fast, you're going to be able to take these boosters into the Steel Path, and the Steel Path has those resource boosters as well. Another thing you should do, you should go ahead and be doing your daily sorties in case you get a free booster from these. And the final thing is if you come into a relay again, if there's an MR30 player, they can come up to this little thing and they can also give you a resource blessing too. So if you're in here and there's a lot of people in the relay, you can just go ahead and type, "Can someone give me a resource blessing?" And then hopefully some nice Mash Rank 30 player will give a resource blessing, and it means that you'll get better drops. Now that Resourceful Retriever mod that we put onto our Panzer, that actually affects the drop rate of the Vitus Essence as well. And I guess one more thing that I can show you while I'm in the relay here. This is Barokatir. He is a Void Trader. He comes every so often bringing some Prime mods. So the Prime mods that he's bringing right now are for shotguns, and they're pretty good. There's also Prime Being of Grenadier for rifles. That is an insanely good mod too. Prime Pack Leader, Prime Fulmination. Any Prime mods that are here, you want to go ahead and pick up. So the resources that he takes are called ducats, and you get ducats by heading over to this vendor down here, and you simply just want to go ahead and trade some of your duplicate Prime items. So for example, I've got a lot of Hildren Prime stuff. I can just go ahead and dump some of those and I get some ducats. You do need quite a bit to buy the Prime stuff, but it's definitely worth it. Any Prime mod that he brings, just go ahead and pick it up because it's going to have a use somewhere. But don't stress too much about getting those mods. They will come back into rotation eventually, and they're not necessary to your gameplay. So the loadout that I'm going to be bringing into the Arbitrations is my Necros. This is the Necros build that I've got going right now. You can see that I went ahead and I did some of the Corrupted Vaults, so I've got all of the Corrupted mods now, apart from Catalyzing Shield, because I sold a bunch of my duplicate Catalyzing Shields for Platinum. So this is the build that I'm rocking on Necros. It's a high ability strength build with a little bit of ability range and duration. It's lacking in efficiency, but my Equilibrium mod paired with Desecrate and Flow, well, that's going to make up for that. And if I wanted to, I could go ahead and throw on Streamline. Of course, I'd need to have one that only takes 8 capacity, because that's all I've got right now. Or I could Forma, but I'm not going to Forma this because I know that Necros Prime exists. And I'm not really feeling the need to Forma right now. Like, this build is doing me just fine in Arbitrations. You can go ahead and ignore these Arcanes that I've got equipped. They're not benefiting the build at all, really. Multi-efficiency is nice, but we'll talk a little bit more about how to get that later. This is the Naderic build that I'm currently running. It's not the best. We are going to upgrade it, but we'll talk more about, like, focus farming mods and stuff like that after we've got the Galvanized mods. This build is doing just fine in Arbitrations. That's all we're doing right now. I've got a Grimoire build that looks like this, and again, like, I'm not really using the Grimoire for damage at the minute, so the build doesn't really matter, just get as close to it as possible. And finally, my Zorus build looks like this. Again, ignore the Arcane, that's not really doing anything for us. This is just what I'm rocking on the Zorus, and it's working. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into an Arbitration, make sure to put this on public. Now, the key with this is to not die. If you die in here, your teammates have to revive you in a different way. It's not as simple as just coming up to your body and holding a button. They actually have to kill the little drones that spawn in, collect the resource, and invest that resource into your body to bring you back in. So we'll jump into this and I'll show you exactly how it plays. So this is just going to be a normal interception mission. Now remember, you don't have to bring Necros in here. His Desecrate ability isn't going to work on the drones, but I'm just rocking with Necros because that's the frame that I'm investing into right now. So what we're waiting on is for one of the Arbitration drones to spawn in. They're quite tiny. I gotta go ahead and cast my abilities here. So this is one of the little Arbitration drones that I'm talking about. So that's going to connect to the enemies, and the enemies that it's connected to, they're not going to take any damage. So you want to make sure that you're killing these little drones before you're trying to kill anyone else. And these drones are going to have a chance to drop the Vitus Essence that we need to farm to get those bonus mods. So the more resource drop chance boosters that you have active in a squad, the more likely the drones are to drop the Vitus Essence. But I just want to reiterate again, your Necros Desecrate does not affect the drop chance of the Vitus Essence. Only Resourceful Retriever, the mod that we threw onto our Panzer, and the resource drop chance boosters that you can get from the market or from the relay from another player. Like, if you're playing Necros and you're just copying what I'm doing, make sure to have your third ability turned on at all times. Make sure to have your fourth ability, Roar, turned on. That's going to increase the amount of damage that you deal. If you come across enemies that have yellow health bars, go ahead and cast your Terrify ability. I actually died doing that demonstration, so yeah, you can see what being dead looks like in Arbitrations. You just have to wait for your teammates to revive you. So what's going to happen is you see that little icon that's on the screen there on the left beneath my, or it's behind the Ludus now. So it's right in front of the Mirage right now. You can see 42 meters away. My teammates have to go ahead and pick up that resource and then put it into where my body is. Okay, so as I was saying, yellow health bar, Terrify, strips their armor, makes them easier to kill. Now, it's one arbitration mission per hour, so if I were to leave this mission now, the arbitration would be gone, and I'd have to wait until the next hour comes. So for me, it's 7:30. I'd have to wait until 8 before I can play my next arbitration. So it's important to make the most out of every single arbitration run that you can. Also, here's one of my teammates dead. So I have to come pick up these little things here. And then whenever I get enough of them, I'll be able to revive this person. So you can see that this is 1 out of 5. So after completing 2 waves of interception in that arbitration, you'll see that I've only got 20 Virus Essence from that with boosters on. So that should give you guys an idea of how sort of rare this resource is. But on the plus side, you get a ton of endo from this game mode. You even get Ayatan statues, which you can put the stars into and then sell to Maru. And in that way, you can upgrade your mods by quite a bit just by playing arbitrations. Another thing that I want you guys to be doing is have this landing craft foundry segment crafting. This is going to allow us to equip these air support charges to our gear. And we're going to need that because we're going to go ahead and buy a ship. Go ahead, pause the game, go to equipment, then go to orbiter, and then press landing craft. Where it says Lisette, go ahead and left click that. And what we want to buy is we want to go ahead and get enough platinum to buy the Parallax. Or the Parallax, however you want to say that. So you can get the blueprint for it, but you can see that it needs the Parallax avionics, the Parallax engines, and the Parallax fuselage from reinforced containers that only spawn in Zarman missions. And the thing is, this ship gives us a really cool ability or piece of gear that marks all of the rare or hidden things in a tile set. Which is going to be useful because if you remember when we played in the Zarman, when we played in the Sanctum, and when we played in the 1999 areas, I showed you plumes in the Zarman, vodka in the Sanctum, and the pizza, McDonald's, and beer in the 1999 areas. Well, basically, what we need to do is we need to run around those maps and collect a bunch of the plumes, the vodka, and the goodies in the 1999 area, but they're hidden, right? And who wants to be asked, like, running around and finding hidden things? I don't. So what I like to do is I buy this ship. It gives me a piece of gear that literally marks everything for me. And on top of that, if you come down to your helmet, I'm going to go ahead and put on mag here. Maybe you guys know where I'm going with this. If you come down to your Helminth, you'll see that Helminth actually has some of its own unique abilities. So for example, Infested Mobility. That isn't a Warframe ability. Well, it is because you can put it onto a Warframe, but no Warframe has this base. Helminth actually has this ability called Golden Instinct, and this sends out a short-lived Void Spark, which is drawn toward the nearest medallion, item, sculpture, rare, crate, unscanned curia, or unscanned fragment. So this just helps you find secret things as well. Now, I much prefer having the spaceship with the gear thing, because that marks a bunch of different things instead of just one thing at a time. But if you wanted to, you could go ahead and go through the process of like subsuming Warframes. Like I'm going to go ahead and get rid of mag here. I need calcs and I need oxides. Go ahead and feed. And I'm going to go ahead and kill this mag Warframe. Any Warframe that isn't a prime is eventually going to end up in this Helminth, for me at least. So that means the regular Vault that we've got, the regular Necros that we've got, I'm eventually going to be sacrificing them whenever I get the primes. So don't invest too many resources like Forma into them. You don't have to copy verbatim what I do, but just so you know, that's the direction that I'm going in. That just freed up a Warframe slot for me, so I can go ahead and have a Warframe crafting, which I'm pretty sure, yep, I've already got all the parts for Banshee going. Actually got a bunch of stuff going right now. And that's going to help me with my mastery, because as you guys can see, I'm still only master rank 10, even though we're on episode 13. I'm slacking. But yeah, whenever you're farming those corrupted mods and potentially prime sets, you want to go ahead and get 150 platinum to buy the Parallax. Now make sure you actually buy the Parallax, not a skin, and not the collection. I mean, you can buy the collection if you want, but just the Parallax. And then whenever we are done crafting the landing craft foundry segment, we can craft those air support charges. And that's going to make farming the plumes in Zarman, the vodka in Demos, and the pizza and stuff in 1999 just a lot easier. So speaking of these areas, let's go ahead and take a look at all of them and see what they've got for us. So to talk to all of the Zarman vendors, just go ahead and head to the Chrysalith. Then if you go ahead and press hold fast standing, you can see that we have to earn standing here. But if we press rank up, you can see that we need these void plumes to rank up, as well as some other resources too. So to get the standing, you just want to go ahead and do bounties. So I recommend just speedrunning the exterminate mission that's on. So just go ahead and flick through them and see which ones are there. If there's an exterminate mission, just go ahead and do that. If not, I'd probably do maybe Void Flood, Void Cascade. But the Mobile Defense and the Void Armageddon, like those are just straight up skips for me. But you can see that they have like a side objective, right? And the side objective is going to be what actually gets you the stand-in. So it says find a Zarium Accolade and take it to Militia. So that one's actually really good because that gets us a Void Plume as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this and show you guys what it's all about. Once you start the bounty, go into the golden ball. That's going to take you to the elevator. Just get in the elevator. So to find this Zarium Accolade, we have to use our ears. And around the map, you're going to be able to find these Void Plumes. Just go ahead and look for them and pick them up. You can see 8 of them have spawned in this mission. Now, I'm not going to stress about finding all 8. But I mean, you can stress about it if you want to. You're going to find these little balls. You can interact with them and a kid's going to spawn in. The kid is going to guide you to a secret. Sometimes it is the little plumes that you need. So as you can see, this guy brought me back into the room that I was already in and showed me that I missed one. So, yeah. I was going to flame that kid for being an idiot and taking me back into that room whenever I was already in it. Here's another one of the little balls. Just go ahead, interact with it, and follow the kid. He jumped down into this hole, and he showed me another one of the little void plumes. So it's a good idea just to, like, look around in this area, to be honest. Like, interact with anything that is interactable, you know? So you can see that buying that ship for platinum isn't necessary, but it will speed things up quite drastically because you do need quite a few of those void plumes. It just makes you, like, not have to rely on the little kids showing you where they are, you know? You'll notice that the Frax enemies drop arcanes whenever you kill them. So we got Emergence Dissipate. So I've completed the Exterminate objective, but you can see that I actually haven't completed the Bounty objective. So if I were to leave this mission, I would literally get 0 bounty or 0 standing progress. So normally you would get lucky and you would come across the room naturally that has the vending machine that we have to talk to. So it says to take the accolade to Malika, right? That's actually just a vending machine. So it wants us to find a golden key and to put it into a vending machine. And it will give us a void plume in return. But unfortunately, I came across neither. And I'm not going to waste my time looking for it, because that's just going to slow down my progress. But if I had that, speak of the devil, I find it. This is the accolade. You go ahead and you pick it up. And now we have to look for a vending machine to put it into. And this is the vending machine right here. So I put it in, and it pops out a plume. And now that's the objective completed, or the mission completed. So we can get into the ball, and we can leave. You get into the elevator, and that is the mission complete. Actually, I ended up getting a Geyer blueprint, which is quite nice. And we got 4 Void Plume quills at the end of the mission as well. So you'll see that if we go to Hold Fast Standing, we actually have 0 out of 5,000 still. That's because we have to take the Void Plumes. We got to go to Archimedean Yunta. And it says exchange Void Plumes for Hold Fast Standing. Go ahead and just put in the quills, or whichever one you have the most of. So we redeem, and now we've got 5,000 hold fast standing. We go back to Quinn, press hold fast standing, press rank up, and you can see that we need some more void plume downs. So if you hover over the bounties, you can see that they have different drops. So the first one is Void Cascade here. It can drop void plume down. The second one drops void plume vein. The third one, void plume crest. The fourth one doesn't drop any plumes at all, and neither does the fifth one. So relying solely on the bounties to get these void plumes isn't the most efficient, which is why we want to go out of our way to get that ship or to get that helmet ability to really help with this. Like, you can brute force it and just go into the bounties and pick things up as you play, entirely up to you. But I recommend picking up that ship or picking up that helmet ability to speed the process up in this area. So by the next episode, I will have that ship, and then we'll start making progress in this area. The reason that it's important to make progress in this area is if we come to this guy over here, Cavaliero, if you press Browse Wares with him, you can see that there's a bunch of stuff here. There's this weapon called the Latum, and we can use that at Master Rank 14. Another weapon called the Anudum, one called the Fenmore, the Felarx, the Praetos, and a bunch of different arcanes as well. And all of the stuff is pretty good, especially the weapons. The weapons are really good because they are incarnon weapons, meaning they have a different form and a lot of cool buffs. They're quite meta, actually. And then we have arcanes here like Mold Augmented. So it says on kill plus 0.24% ability strength, stacking up to 250 times, which is just a big bonus to your ability strength after you get 250 kills. So there's a lot of stuff in here which is quite worth it. And on top of that, if you take a look at the incarnon market here, you can see that there's incarnon adapters for other normal weapons. But yeah, that's a lot of really powerful stuff that we really want. So we've got to get that ship. We're going to move on to the Sanctum now. If you come and talk to Fibonacci, the fish, this is where you can start your bounties. And it's the same deal. They've got, of course, the mission type and then the actual bounty objective beneath. This is just an exterminate, but to get the standing, we do actually get standing this time, not a resource to trade for standing. We have to kill 2 void rigs. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Again, golden ball, jump into it. It's going to take you to the elevator. Get into the elevator, and that's going to start the mission. So for the necromechs to spawn in these types of missions, these enemies have to come up to these consoles, and you kind of have to let them hack it. And then they spawn the necromech in. Now, the necromechs in this area are far more tanky than the ones in the isolation vaults. But implying you've like got decent mods and you've been following the guide, you should be able to kill them just fine. You see, I just killed that one pretty easy, even though it was like level 100 and something. So here's my second necromech. I'm just going to go ahead and kill that, and that'll be the bounty objective completed. Just like that, he's dead. Now I just kill the rest of the enemies and complete the mission. At the end of every single Sanctum mission, it's going to be this room. So just remember, you've got this grate to shoot open, and you can go ahead, dash in here, then jump in here. And then maybe a Voka's going to spawn in here, but unfortunately, this time for me, it didn't. So I'm just going to go ahead and extract and get my stand in. So you can see that we got a focus lens and a nice amount of endo from that. Like if we go and talk to the other characters, we can talk to Bird Free first. Go ahead and press browse wares, and we can see that he's selling a bunch of arcanes as well. Melee influence is the one that we really want. That's going to make our Zorus super busted. So it's really important, really important that you max out your standing with the Cavia Syndicate every day, because we really want this very good. We also want to get this, the Helm of Coalescence segment. This is for Archon shards, which we haven't got any of those yet, but we're going to talk about them very soon. Melee influence is a little bit more important than that though. He also has this shiny treasures option where you can get an Archon shard, 1 a week. It costs 30,000 standing, but unfortunately we have to be rank 5, so we gotta get the rank 5. So if we go back over to the fish, we press Cavia standing, we press rank up, you can see that I need some Shrill Voka before I can rank up. So I gotta play some more of the bounties here and collect the Voka, and then I can trade that in to rank it up. And having that ship or having that helmet ability is gonna help me find this Voka that I need to rank up. You can also come over and talk to Tagfer. Tagfer gives you access to Netracells, and if you remember, we did a Netracell in the Whispers of the Walls quest, or Whispers in the Walls quest. And at the end, we've got the chance of getting Archon Shards, a Melee Arcane, a Talforge Archon Shard, which is an upgraded version, and a Melee Arcane Adapter. This is also a weekly thing. You can do it 5 times a week. And I think we should be strong enough to actually go ahead and do these. I recommend doing it on public though. And let's just go ahead and try one. So we're going to enter the Netracell. So as a newer player, you only want to pick up one of the debuffs. You can see that there's 4. I'm just going to go ahead and pick one of them up. And then the rest of my team can pick up 1 or 2. And you should know what to do because we've literally already done this. So you just go ahead, hack the computer. Now we're running in here and we're hacking the other 3 computers. You can see that the enemy level is quite high here. So you want to use all of the tools at your disposal to deal damage. So for example, your electric shield, shooting through that. We'll actually take a look at our vault build after this. And we'll upgrade it a little bit because I literally haven't upgraded my vault build in quite a while. But yeah, with my Naderic, I'm still killing the enemies quite easily. And same with the Zorus, kinda. Yeah, maybe not the Eximus enemies with the Zorus, but anything that doesn't have a lot of armor. But don't worry, we'll fix that. At this stage of the game, you're kinda caught up, and you're just racing to get like super powerful. I remember why I wasn't going to take a look at my Vault build earlier, is because I've got some of the parts for Vault Prime. So I'll show you guys how you can upgrade your base Vault if that's something that you're going to do. But in this playthrough, for me, I'm going to go and get Vault Prime first. And then I'm going to upgrade my Vault. So once you find the Netracell, the person with the correct key has to come over to it and put their key in. So you can see I don't have the right key because it says the correct key glyph is required to open the vault. So we gotta wait on Mega Milk Lover because they have most of the keys. And now it's just the exact same thing as in the quest. You just stay in the red circle and kill enemies in it. And once you've depleted the percentage, you've killed enough enemies in the big circle, the vault is gonna open. And you just want to head up here around the stairs. This thing is gonna pop up. Go ahead and destroy that, pick up what it drops, and head to the exit. You're also going to get Entradi Landforns. Now, those are really good. It's a rare resource that we need for some of the Zarman weapons. And I think also the rank up sometimes. So being able to do Netracells and get them from here is just amazing. Remember to always check this little grate for Voka. We got 1 and we got 2. So that's some of that Shrill Voka that we need to rank up. 1 more and I'm able to rank up actually. I got an Azure Archon Shard from that run. So I'm able to do that 4 more times this week, but I'm not going to do that on this video. I'm just going to do that off screen. But yeah, that's that. Whenever it comes to building Vault, we're going to be building him to be a selfish buffer. So I'm just going to go ahead and unequip all of the mods that we have on here. You can go ahead and swap off the Dreamer's Bomb mod now if you don't want it. So for example, I got this Worthy Camaraderie mod. This comes from the 1999 content. It says squad receives more weak point critical chance. So if you just want to deal more damage, I mean, I guess you can throw that on. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade it like so. Nice matching polarity. So to build Vault to be a selfish buffer, I'll throw on Equilibrium for sustain. I'll throw on Blind Rage for a lot of ability strength. Transient Fortitude for even more ability strength. Narrow-Minded for ability duration. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to my syndicates here and I'm going to rank up with the Red Veil. I need to spend Aya to rank up and 500,000 credits. That's insane. So I've ranked up and now I get a free augment mod. So the one that we're going to go for is Shock Trooper. Let's go ahead and redeem that. So I'll throw Shock Trooper into this build like so. I'll have a slot for a defensive mod. Because this build is meant for speedrunning, I'll go ahead and I'll throw on Rush. So what Rush does, it increases your base sprint speed, and speed acts like a multiplier. So it takes your base sprint speed, then speed multiplies it, and the multiplier is going to be higher based on your ability strength value. And then what I would do for a final mod is I would just go ahead and throw on Flow. So what I'll do is I'll rank up Narrow-Minded a little bit. This is just going to make it so our abilities last longer. They have less range, but that's okay. I'm also going to rank up Transient Fortitude, so they're going to be stronger, but they're not going to last as long. So this is what I was able to get away with so far. And if this was going to be like my go-to vault, what I would do is I would come down to the Helminth. I would go ahead, I would take Roar, and I would put it over Vaults 4. That rhymes. I need to give him Calx and Bile, but I don't really know if I want to spend my resources on a Warframe that I'm going to be throwing away. So I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to wait until I get a Vault Prime. My Panzer Vulpathyla needs to get an Auric and Keyless, but as you can see, I don't have any more of the credits that I need to buy an Auric and Reactor. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and pay attention to these Nightweave missions or challenges and just go ahead and do some of those. There's going to be some that you don't recognize, like, for example, Feed the Maw in the Veery. Like, you don't know what that is. It's basically where you turn into a fish and you eat other fish. Or these Hall of Ascension challenges, like, you probably don't know what they are either. I'm not going to go into detail on what those are right now, but just complete challenges that you know how to do, like killing enemies with magnetic damage or gas damage, completing free spy missions, stuff like that. Just make sure to stay on top of those Nightwave challenges. Now, with this Shock Trooper augment on Vault, what we're able to do is we can hold down 1, and that's going to turn our shock ability into a damage buffing ability. And that's going to add electric damage onto our weapon, which is basically more damage. If you hover over the one, you can see that it's 179% extra electric damage, and it's got a duration of 63 seconds. I'm here in Fortuna, and I just want to show you guys the speed buff that we get now. You can see that we are way faster with Vault now. We're able to run way quicker. The other thing you can do, if you have it, you can throw the Mobilize mod on over Flow, and that's going to make your parkour velocity a little bit better. So missions are going to be even quicker on Vault. But I think as a good sort of like beginner Vault build, the one that we've thrown together right now is pretty good. And you can see your damage buff in the top right hand corner. So remember, you have to hold down the shock ability for the buff to be casted, and you just deal so much more damage with it on. Another thing that you might have noticed, if you come over to the 1999 PC, down here at the bottom, there's a little calendar. Now, along this calendar, there are rewards. So you can choose between a Exos weapon adapter or Arcane enhancements. I would recommend going for the Arcanes, actually. But first of all, you have to do challenges, which are down here in the bottom left, before you can progress through this calendar. First of all, we get this buff that we can choose. I'm going to go ahead and choose the last one because it adds electric damage. And now I guess I've done enough of the challenges to get this first gift, so I'm going to go ahead and take some of the Arcanes. I got Arcane Impetus and Melee Dockety. I can go ahead and choose another Arcane as well. Arcane Crepuscular, however you say that. And now if I keep on completing challenges, I'll be able to progress and get more of the stuff. These challenges have to be done within the 1999 area. And another thing, if you want to invest into it, is you can talk to the Hex members here, and this is going to get you chemistry with them, which you actually need to do to progress the story in the 1999 area if you spoke to the cat in the base of operations. And you can get back to that base of operations or the back room just by coming to this PC and clicking this here. Now, once you're back in the back room, I recommend going out of the back room and into Hulvania. And you'll notice that this is also just another syndicate as well. So if we fast travel and we talk to Arthur, you can go ahead and press View Hex Standing, and you can view what you need to rank up. So I've actually got everything that I need here. But we have to get the standing, and to get the standing, we got to go ahead and fast travel to the garage. And then to the left of the PC in the garage, you can select the bounty board. And you can see the bounties here. So you can see Demolition Derby, Exterminate. Doing Exterminate, get 6,000 standing after we complete the bounty objective, which is destroying 16 automobiles. You can go ahead and do any of these that you want. But I'm going to go ahead and do this Exterminate real fast. Remember to start it, get on your motorbike. Now, the cool thing about playing the 1999 bounties, the Sanctum bounties, or the Zarman bounties is if anyone picks up, let's say, a Plume, a Vodka, or any of the pizza, McDonald's, or beer in 1999, if literally anyone picks it up, the entire squad gets it. Sometimes in the 1999 bounties, you're going to come across this side objective, which is like this case thing. You want to just go ahead and bring keys to it. So you can see the entire squad is running around looking for these keys in the ground. They're making a noise. So here's one here. So we just picked up one of the treasures as well. We just deliver it to this supply cache, and we get an Arcane from it, which we find out what the Arcane is at the end of the mission. We've completed the bounty objective. So now I'm going to go ahead, TP to Arthur, view Hex Standing, rank up, yes, continue, and now we can choose something, choose whatever you like here. If you come over to Amir, you can see that you can buy the new Warframe Site 09, some weapons like the AX52, the Vesper 77, the parts for the Vesper, and the parts for the Reconifex. The AX52 is really good, by the way. Just saying. The last thing that I want to talk about in today's episode is actually mods for our Grimoire. So from this mirror defense mission, on rotation C, we can get these Invocation mods. And these Invocation mods actually trigger a effect whenever we do an alt fire with the Grimoire. So you can see here the Netra one, alternate fire increases ability efficiency by 4% for 20 seconds for every enemy hit, stacking up to 15 times. So that's nice for spamming abilities and stuff. The wrist one, alt fire increases ability duration by 4%. That's good if you're using Rhino's Roar or maybe the Vault build that we just put together. With Vom, alt fire increases ability strength, so more of a damage buff. And the Zada one, alt fire grants 1 energy regen per second for 20 seconds for each enemy hit, stacking up to 10 times. So this is your utility mods that you can equip to your Grimoire. And again, it's rotation C, so that's 4 waves or 4 rotations. You've got a 5% chance of getting each of these. So if you want to, you can come and you can farm those mods from Munio. Why couldn't I say that? But I think I'm going to leave this episode off here because we've covered a lot. But the next episode, I will have that ship and we will start farming our plumes, our vodka, and our pizza. Thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe for more Warframe content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.